This video explains how to use the grid on the BCG Event Manager. In order to get to the grid, simply click on the Grid tab. The grid shows the arrangement of all of the meetings during your event. It has three main areas. First, you can see your days across the top. For example, this event starts on Monday, September 5th. Within that area, you can see the times, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and so forth, split into 15-minute increments, 0, 15, 30, 45, and so forth. On the left-hand side, you can see all of the rooms in all of the hotels for your event, as well as the meal areas in the hotels for your event. In the top left is a number of controls used for filtering exactly what parts of the event you're seeing. And finally, the main body of the grid shows all of your meetings, each meeting being identified with an ID number and possibly having lead time to handle changes in room setup. So let's go through each area one by one. First, filtering what you can see, which is done in the upper left-hand corner. You can see that right now I'm looking at Monday, September 5th, and to the right is Tuesday the 6th, and so forth. And you can use this scroll bar to get through all of the days that you're currently viewing. To control which days you're viewing, which normally defaults to your event's normal timeline, you can use this bar in the top left corner. And you can see up to 7 days before or 7 days after your meeting, after your normal event dates, and you can schedule meetings during those times. So for example, if I wanted to see all the way from September 1st, I could move the bar and it would change what I see. Again, I can scroll back and forth to see the change. For now, I'm going to go back to the 5th of September through the 9th. You can also control what times are shown. So if I wanted to see later in the day, I might move this to say, I want to see all the way till 8 p.m. And you can see that it redrew so that now Monday shows all the way to 8 p.m. Right? And maybe I don't want to see the morning, I only want to see from lunch on, so I'm going to go from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. And as you can see, the grid redrew. One thing to note when you're doing this kind of filtering, if meetings do occur prior to the first time that you're showing, you'll see it with a less than, and in this case 3, indicating there are 3 meetings prior to 12 p.m. on that day, Monday. When you're filtering in other ways, you might see that there are meetings on the right-hand side that are after your end time. It works the same way. Next, if you are working with meetings and you're not interested in seeing the meal times and meal areas, and pardon me while I move this back to the standard times, you can unclick the View Meals box. So for example, the Westin Meal Area 1 is shown right now, but I can unclick and it won't show the meal areas anymore. And lastly, you can view scores, which is related to optimization. In the next video that describes how to create and arrange meetings, I'll describe the View Scores button and how optimizing works. So that's how to filter what parts you're seeing. Next, on the left-hand side, you can see a list of all the hotels and all of the rooms and meals. The hotel is abbreviated using its first 3 letters. So for example, the Westin Lone Star is abbreviated with capital WES. But if I had the Plaza in here, you would see capital PLA to stand for Plaza. And that helps you know which room is associated with which hotel. The meals area is shown as Meal Area 1. That was the name I chose to give it. And then there are 3 rooms, the Maple, Linden, and Oak Room. Beside each of them, you can see the chair setup that's going to be used in that room by default at the beginning of each day. So the Maple Room happens to have U-shaped tables and chairs, and the number 10 indicates that with that setup, the room's capacity is up to 10 participants. Also note what I'm doing right now. When I hover the Maple Room, you can see the hint on the right-hand side that says Westin Lone Star, the Maple Room, U-shaped tables and chairs, and that can be very handy for when you can't remember the 2 or 3 letter abbreviation for what the setup is, that it can contain 10 people, and that the food and beverage area it's associated with is meal area 1, and finally it will show that the room is used during auto-scheduling. That is also related to optimization, and when I talk about optimization in a separate video, I'll dive into that. The next thing to know is when you're seeing each of the days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so forth, the times are named 8, 9, 10, and so forth in 15-minute increments, and you can hover the day, in which case it will tell you the name of the event, when that event starts and ends, and the city and country. And you can also hover the times. When a time is marked in green, that indicates that it is open to be scheduled. When it is marked in gray, it indicates that it is closed time, not to be scheduled by anyone but administrators. And when it is unmarked, that is simply open time, but it will not be shown as available. That is, you are allowed to schedule during it, but regular users won't see it as available time. So, for example, on Monday, the official open time starts at 10 a.m., and 8 through 10 is not considered to be schedulable time by regular users. However, administrators can come into the event manager's grid screen and set up meetings even outside of those officially open times. So the meat and potatoes of the grid is this main area where all the meetings are shown. At first glance, it can look a little confusing, so I'll walk through each of the pieces. The first thing to know is that you can hover this color key, and it tells you what color means what kind of thing. There's blue for meetings, purple for meals, gray for blackouts, a lighter blue for holds, and even lighter blue for lead times, a yellow meaning that some sort of a setup change is requiring a lead time to exist, but the lead time does not yet exist, and red means that a meeting has a problem. Also, you may see a number of different flags indicating that a new meeting has been added by you or by another user. Orange meaning that the meeting was changed by someone, and red meaning that the meeting was just deleted. Finally, later on in your event organization, when you have made the meeting rooms available to the organizers, you will see the numbers in bold. There's more about that in the video that describes how to set up meetings. So let me read this for you, and you can see how it all works. First, let's pick a simple meeting. Meeting 1187. When I hover, it explains. The ID for this meeting is 1187. The name of it is Quick Prezzo. It was organized by Ken Demrest, and it does not yet have a partner assigned to it. Also, the setup is going to be banquet rounds, which is what the RND to the left of the meeting means. It will have 5 participants. It's not in any larger group of meetings, and that will be explained later. And it does not have any audio video, nor is any food or beverage being served in the meeting. Now, a quick note, you can see an orange arrow just to the right of the meeting. That arrow can be dragged forward or backward to shorten or lengthen the meeting. The meeting was just changed, and so the orange flag appears. I'm going to change it back to the half-hour duration that it started out as. So that's a simple meeting. Now, if you look at the purple here, you can see that this is food and beverage, meaning it's a meal, and this one happens to be a lunch whose identity is 1189. The lighter blue is a hold. This hold, which is ID 1190, If you turn it into a meeting, it will be named French class, and again the organizer setup and so forth are described for the hold. And this gray area, which says do not use, indicates a blackout period, meaning that the Oak Room in the Westin is not to be scheduled between 8 and 10 on September 5th. There are two interesting facets to meetings. One is a meeting can be marked red, and that indicates that something is wrong. So you can see meeting 1183 right here has red marking on it. There are a number of ways that meetings can have a problem. They might be missing they might be missing a partner. They might have too many participants for the room, which happens to be true in this case. And there are a number of other things. When you hover the red meeting, it will show you, look, this room setup is too small. You've asked for 12 participants in the meeting, but as you can see, the Maple room only can allow 10 participants when you have U-shaped tables and chairs. That's why it's red. And that will allow you to either move the meeting or change its participants or whatever's necessary. The other thing that can go wrong is it could be that a setup is required, a setup change is required. So you can see here that the Linden room starts out the day with U-shaped tables and chairs, but meeting 1184 requires HS, that is hollow square, and no lead time has been allocated yet for that to occur. In the next video that talks about creating and arranging meetings, I will describe how to fix that kind of problem. For now, that's all there is to know about learning how to read and interpret the grid. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoy the next video that describes how to create meetings, arrange them, and fix common problems.